Hey guys, it's Hunter. Welcome back to another video. When Jackson launched Misha Mansoor's first Pro Series signatures a couple of years ago, they didn't actually have that much in common with the higher-end USA models. The import versions were missing the hipshot hardware, the bare-knuckle pickups, which isn't too surprising seeing as those are very premium appointments, but even the fingerboard radius was different. While the American-made model has a super flat 20-inch radius, the Pro had a still very flat, but noticeably rounder 16-inch radius. Well, 2 years later, the Pro Series Juggernauts have been revamped to bring them more in line with their higher-end counterparts. So, what improvements have been made? Let's take a closer look. And before we get into the review, I want to give a shout out to Jason Miller and the rest of the awesome patrons for making what I do possible. You guys are f***ing awesome. If you like what I do with the demos and reviews, you can support me as well and get bonus perks through the link below. And with that, let's get into the video. So, what is this guitar made out of? Well, it retains the same carved basswood body from the 2017 version. I've heard some people complain about this, like why is the body on an $800 guitar made of basswood? The perception seems to be that because basswood is found on a lot of beginner level instruments, it's bad, but that's not necessarily true. Yes, a healthy number of entry-level guitars are made of basswood, but you have to remember that just like mahogany or alder or ash, there's different levels of quality. Basswood is just the material that Misha prefers. Even his $3,500 USA signatures come with a basswood body, as does the $3,200 John Petrucci Music Man. So yeah, basswood, not necessarily bad, and if you're a believer in tonewood, it's got a reputation for having a very flat EQ response. Either way, this body feels very solid. New for this year though is that the bolt-on maple neck has been caramelized. I talked a little about this last week with the DK24 HSS, but basically caramelized is what Charvel and Jackson call their roasted maple necks. The TLDR is it's been heat treated in a vacuum to remove any moisture and impurities, and this makes it more resistant to atmospheric changes. More stable through temperature humidity changes than a non-treated neck. This used to be a very premium feature that you'd only see on high-end guitars, and now we're seeing it on much more affordably priced instruments like this $850 Jackson. Even a couple of years ago, this would be unheard of. Then while the last version had an ebony fingerboard, this one has roasted caramelized maple, so it's got this nice dark color to it. Now the overall construction feels super solid, and while there's no neck pocket gap, the bolt holes on the back are quite messy. It's got messy bolt holes. It looks like the washers scratched the finish on the way in. They had trouble getting it in because the bolt holes were too tight. Don't laugh. What are you, like 5? Grow up. Moving on, the one that I have here is in a color that Jackson calls Chlorine Burst, and it comes with a quilted maple veneer. But there are also options in matte blue frost and satin black, which are even more reasonably priced at $50 less and with the same specs. Honestly, I think with the roasted maple board, the matte blue frost is by far the best looking version, and it's the one that I would have gotten on the channel, but apparently everyone else had the same idea and it's already sold out everywhere. That's okay, because especially with the matching headstock, this one still looks great, though I would have liked to see a little more depth to the veneer. It looks a bit two-dimensional. But who cares how it looks? How does it play? On this, I'm kinda torn. On one hand, the oiled satin maple neck feels great. It's got kinda like a U shape. It's on the thinner side, but not excessively so. It feels almost Charvel-like, but a bit flatter on the back. The fingerboard edges have been rolled. This is one of my favorite features that's become more common with affordable instruments in the Fender family of brands. Rolled fingerboard edges is one of those things that doesn't really show up on camera, but wow, do you feel it when you pick the guitar up. Right out of the box, it just makes it feel way more comfortable, and also means that there are no sharp fret ends. It's made affordable guitars feel so much more familiar and well broken in, even if you're picking it up for just the first time. Upper fret access is also super easy. You've got the deep double cutaway with dual bevels on the front and back, and also a carved bulbous joint that's super comfortable to rest your hand on while ripping a solo. The factory setup for this one wasn't bad either. The frets are pretty level for the most part, no dead spots or anything like that. My Fender Player Series Tele 2 weeks ago, the Charvel last week, and now this Jackson have all had impressively well-polished frets for sub $1,000 guitars. They look great, and more importantly, make bends and vibrato super smooth. Intonation is good, as is the action. All I really had to do is raise the low E string slightly to get rid of some excessive buzzing, and then it was good to go. So, all that being said, I don't like the fingerboard at all. It is stupid flat. The previous iteration had a 16-inch radius, which was already too flat for me, and this has gone one step further with a 20-inch fingerboard radius. Now, while this takes it more out of line with my personal taste in guitars, it actually brings it more in line with Misha's USA signature, and a 20-inch radius is pretty rare to find on a normal production model from any brand. It's great for the shredders, but as someone who isn't a very technical lead player, it feels very weird to me, especially since I've been spending a lot of time lately with my Fender Tele, which is a very round 9.5-inch fingerboard radius. It's one of the more unique specs for this guitar that makes it very different from most other offerings on the market and the ones that I normally like to play, but yeah, I don't like it. Let's move on to features. So in addition to the roasted maple neck, there are a few things that are pretty cool on an $800 guitar. First of all, we've got spoke wheel truss rod adjustment. This is a feature that's pretty common on Jacksons and Charvels, and it makes for easy, on-the-fly truss rod alterations to fix any neck bow issues. Then we've got glow-in-the-dark side dots. Just like the baked maple neck, this is another feature that used to only be found on higher-end guitars, but now we're seeing it pop up on more $1,000-ish instruments. The Charvel that I demoed last week had it at $999 US, but I was not expecting it on this $850 guitar. When you think about it, glow-in-the-dark side dots make so much sense. There's no downside, they look the same as normal side dots in the light and make fingerboard navigation much easier on like a poorly lit stage. Now the nut seems well cut enough, but I had a hell of a time tracking the demo. At no point was I ever confident this fucking thing was in tune. It doesn't say what material it is on the spec sheet, but I'm sure if it was a Graphtec Tusk nut or graphite or whatever, they'd point it out. So while tuning stability could be a problem with the nut, it could also be with the tuners. They're locking, but they're oddly loose and jumpy. If this is my guitar, I'd be hitting up Graphtec and Hipshot immediately because tuning every 15 seconds is not fun. The G string is particularly uncooperative, and this is coming from someone who normally plays Les Pauls, which are notoriously finicky, and even I found this guitar unusually bad. Onto the bridge, sometimes I have problems with these flat, non-angled bridges for palm mutes, again, Les Paul player, but this Jackson branded Hipshot style bridge actually feels quite nice. And that's partially down to the saddles. A lot of generic bridges have awful, sharp saddles, but these are nice and slightly rounded in the right place, so resting my palm there wasn't uncomfortable at all. The HT6 also comes standard with Dunlop strap locks. I've been using Dunlops forever because they feel incredibly solid, like I trust my 72 Les Paul Custom with them, so I like that they're included with the Pro Series Juggernauts. Now, one of the more common criticisms with the Pro Series Misha models has to do with the pickups. While both his bandmates Mark Holcomb and Jake Bowen have their signature Seymour Duncan and DiMarzio sets in their respective import guitars, the Misha models don't have his preferred bare knuckle pickups. Instead, for this Pro Series instrument, they've opted for Jackson branded MM1 humbuckers. These have been custom voiced by Misha and the Jackson team, presumably after bare knuckles, and the wiring scheme is actually quite interesting. Position 5 is the bridge humbucker, position 4 is the inner coils of both pickups, position 3 is both full humbuckers, position 2 is the outer coils of both pickups, and finally, position 1 is the neck humbucker. Then the push-pull pot actually toggles the tone control on or off. So, here are what the MM1 humbuckers sound like. I'm using the Peavey 6505 Plus for dirty, and the Marshall DSL 100H for cleans. So I said in my video of the original 2017 Pro Series HT6, nah, they're not bare knuckles, but I actually quite like these pickups. They are a little bright, and so isolated they can sound slightly ice picky with my regular settings, but they're well suited to tracking high gain guitars that'll stand out in a mix. The bridge does an awesome job for modern, technical, chuggy riffs, and the split sounds are great for cleans. Now obviously they've made this pickup choice to keep the price down because name brand parts are a costly factor of production, and bare knuckles specifically are not cheap. Every one is hand wound in the UK. If you're looking to buy BKPs yourself, a basic uncovered set of Ragnarok humbuckers, which is what comes in the current USA Misha models, will run you 220 pounds, about $285 US with today's exchange rate, and that's even before shipping. So without sounding like I'm bragging or anything, I just want to give some context. I'll let you in on a little YouTuber secret, and this is only how it works for me. I don't know about anybody else, but if I want anything from like EMG or Fishman, it's pretty easy. I just reach out and generally they'll send me whatever. But bare knuckle, they couldn't even offer me a discount on product, and it's because they're a much smaller company than the other big names in the field. Everything is custom built to order, and so I'm not sure how their OEM discount compares to like the behemoth that is Seymour Duncan. It could be that they just inflated the cost of the guitar too much, like a sub $1,000 guitar with these specs and bare knuckle pickups sounds incredible, but it may not be doable. And when it comes down to it, having hand-wound British bare knuckle pickups is a great box to tick on the spec sheet, but it's not totally necessary. Obviously, I would have preferred a Juggernaut or Ragnarok set if it didn't make the guitar that much more expensive, but I actually quite like the Jackson MM ones. And even if you don't, that's less money that you're spending on the initial purchase of the guitar, and then you can upgrade later with whatever you want, bare knuckles or otherwise. So, conclusion time then. The thing that I notice most about the Misha models is that they inspire some of my weirdest playing. Like, I never tried to write a Periphery-esque song. I pick this thing up, start palm muting, and it just turns into some weird shit. Like, as soon as I was done with the demo track, I sent it off to Luke for mixing, and I was like, is this good? And I still haven't gotten a yes or a no. He's like, well, the first 50 seconds are for sure, then it kind of goes off and does whatever the fuck it wants. So there's that incorporeal factor, I guess. But if we're talking about specific physical things I can actually point to, it's quite a lot to like for 800 bucks. The caramelized maple is such a great feature, and having it on a guitar at this price is amazing. I'm a huge fan of the rolled fingerboard edges, the luminous side dots, and lately Fender's been really impressing me with the fretwork on their sub $1,000 guitars. There could be some improvements, like the veneer could look a little more vibrant, and I do wish they'd used a tusk nut or bone, or at the very least graphite instead of this plastic one. It's such a small upgrade, but it would help so much because at least on this unit, the tuning stability is awful. So I think whether you like this guitar or not is going to come down to the extremely flat fingerboard. I don't, and that's why I would never personally buy this guitar. But if you like super flat 20-inch radiused fingerboards, your options are pretty limited as far as mid-range production models go. Off the top of my head, the only other one that pops into mind is the Mark Holcomb PRS SE. I know the Music Man JPXI has that spec too, but that sells for over $2,800. So limited, but it's a case of quality over quantity. In that regard, I think it's smart what they've done by going with custom voiced Jackson humbuckers over bare knuckles. One, I actually quite like them, but two, they kept the initial cost down for the customer. You're not paying for bare knuckles even if you maybe don't want them. You're getting a well-built instrument with esoteric specs, and at a price where it's not complete lunacy to buy it just as a unique mod platform to make it your own. I mean, I've seen people do that with Holcomb because of that fingerboard radius, and it's 160 bucks more. So I wouldn't say this is my favorite guitar ever, and to be fair, it's not my signature model, but it is interesting because it's different. It's not like a Stratocaster, right? There are a million different Strats and Strat copies on the market with the exact same build specs. Alder body, maple neck, 9.5-inch fingerboard radius. But if you're into the caramelized maple neck and 20-inch fingerboard radius, that is such a rare combo. Apart from a custom build, where else are you going to find that? So if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor and hit the like button. These are, of course, just my opinions. Feel free to tell me how wrong I am in the comments. Subscribe and hit the notification bell if you haven't already. If you want to support what I do and get bonus perks, check out my Patreon. Thanks to Sam Ash for making this guitar available, and to Luke for mixing everything. Social media and merch links are down below. As always, thanks so much for watching. You've been awesome, and I'll see you for the next video.